the defaults that carry you. I woke up this morning with that familiar pull towards security, with a bit of uncertainty. So I got up, had a glass of water, and sat down to meditate. And when I was done, I leashed up my dog and went for a 5-mile run. That's just what I do. I've been playing around with this idea, this mental model of the default, where habit converts into identity, where you're free from having to make decisions about who you are and what you're going to do and how you show up. And discipline and repetition, in particular discipline, is the mechanism. It's the lever. Although application of discipline comes at a cost. It could be spiritual, it could be emotional, it could be physical, it could be mental, depending on your pursuit. But there will be sacrifice, there'll be suffering, there'll be a sense of loss of some kind. And that cost, well, it's the point. That cost is the point. Discipline, the way that I think about it, has 3 components. One is the willingness to keep promises to yourself. Another is to do the thing regardless of your mood or how you feel about it. And the third is, to quote Mike Tyson, do the thing you hate like you love it. And that last one is really important. To teach yourself how to do the uncomfortable thing as though it's your favorite thing in the world will build so much mental and emotional resiliency. It's what will carry the day. The suffering part, it could be mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, but that's intentional. The willingness to endure that suffering is what solidifies the habit into identity. It creates the default. I've got a few defaults. I'll share them with you. I've got several in my life, but here's a few that I think hopefully will resonate with you. One is I made a promise to myself a long time ago that I was going to get a good night's sleep. Seems so obvious and cliche, but it's so important. I mean, it is, the older you get, the more you realize how important sleep is. It's so important. It funds everything else that follows it. My default is I go to bed at the latest 9:30, sometimes by 9, but at the very latest 9:30, and that's not negotiable. I do it in a screen-free, quiet, dark bedroom. I do this because I want to be up at 5. I want to be up before the sunrise. I've got typically a very full day, and I have a lot of things I want to do and things I'm trying to build, and there's only a fixed amount of time during the day. And so by investing in my sleep, I have an energy reservoir to call on when the inevitable challenges of the day are going to show up, and they will. Also, one of the benefits of this sort of sleep structure is that I don't need to wake with an alarm. I haven't woken with an alarm maybe in the last 5 years. I take that back. I did wake with an alarm once about 5 years ago, and I was on the other side of the planet. And I say that just to acknowledge that jet lag is a real thing. Another default I have is movement. I try to get in 15 to 20,000 steps every day, and a large portion of that is done in the morning. After I sit, I go for a run or a weighted vest walk, anywhere between 5 and 7 miles, just depending on the day. Doesn't matter how I feel, doesn't matter what the weather looks like, doesn't matter what's going on in the world. I get those steps in. And the reason why I choose that as a movement activity in the morning is it gets the blood going. There's a lot of obviously physical benefits. Stabilizes my physiology. The walking is just good for you. But the other thing is I want to get a hard thing done first thing in the morning. I want to get my blood going. I want to get something that's challenging, sometimes something that I don't want to do. I want to do it first thing in the morning. It kind of sets the stage. It sort of trains my mind to be not just willing, but capable of taking on other hard things as they come up during the day. And they will. Another movement default for me is I lift every day. After the workday is over in the late afternoon, before dinner, I lift. I won't get into the specifics of my programming, but at least for the large body parts, the last 2 sets, I go within a rep or 2 of failure. That straining against resistance, that calling on every part of your being to push or pull this weight, it builds mental resilience along with the other physical benefits, muscle and fitness and all these other things, VO2 max and HRV, and I'll get into all of that in a future video. But lifting weights for me is incredible anxiety and stress relief. I can redirect all of that accumulated energy and stress through the day into a single action. And it feels really good. So those are my movement defaults. Another default is my nutrition. I rarely eat out. If I do, it's mostly for social reasons. Girlfriend, friends, work, what have you. But I would say 99.9% of the time I eat at home. I prepare my own meals. I try to eat as healthily and as nutritiously as I possibly can. And I eat pretty much the same things every day. I have 2 eggs and a banana for breakfast. I also intermittent fast. And so my fasting window is from 7 p.m. to 11 a.m. So I only eat breakfast at 11 a.m. And for breakfast, I have a couple of eggs and a banana. And then for lunch, a few hours later, I'll have a couple more eggs and some beans. And then for dinner, I'll have a varied protein source and a large plate of veggies. The protein could be chicken, turkey, fish, what have you. And then, veggies could be green beans, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, salad, something like that. And I rarely deviate from that meal structure. And then, I've got a sweet tooth. Who doesn't like candy bars and ice cream? I certainly do. I have them my whole life. That's why I don't have them in my house. Instead, the concession I've made to satisfy my sweet tooth is protein powder, a little bit of flaxseed meal, a teaspoon of honey, and a handful of mixed berries. I kind of mash that all up, and that is incredibly satisfying to me. Why do I choose this? Why is this my default? I view nutrition as importantly as sleep. It's another reservoir of resources that the body calls on during the course of the day, especially if you want to face the challenges of the day with very high performance. Another default is my orientation towards life. Said differently, I just acknowledge that shit happens, That life is going to throw all kinds of stuff at you. The dog's going to poop on the carpet. The jerk's going to cut you off in traffic. The coffee's going to spill all over the kitchen counter. The car's going to break down. The computer's going to flip out in the middle of a Zoom call. All these things are going to happen. They're inevitable. They're as predictable as the sunrise. For me, I don't walk around expecting these things to happen, but I do prepare for them. And when I say prepare, I really mean emotionally prepare. It doesn't mean to discount the feelings. Anger, frustration, disappointment, sadness, despair, these things come up. The idea is to let them pass through you. Another default is contemplative practice. I meditate and journal every day. It doesn't matter what the practice is. The purpose of the practice for me is to see my thoughts as they occur. And doing this over many years, doing this over an extended period of time, allows you to make a choice. I'm sure we've all heard it. There's a moment between stimulus and response where you can make a choice. How do I want to show up in this moment? Contemplative practices offer you a list of available options and the pull-down menu of responses available to you. So the more you meditate, the more you realize that these thoughts I have are just thoughts. I don't have to be them. If the jerk in traffic cuts me off and I can feel the anger well up inside of me, I don't have to respond to the anger. I can just see it, acknowledge it. Wow, I'm really pissed right now, and just let it go. And doing that over and over and over again becomes part of your identity. Hey, I can choose how to respond in any given moment, regardless of the circumstances. That's a tremendous gift. That's a superpower, in fact. So all of these things are just to say that the defaults are already in you. You just have to build them with a little bit of discipline and a little bit of repetition. I hope this finds you well.